Yo, what is up everyone? Tachi here. So today I'm going to be talking about 4 things that I'm interested in hearing the answer of the rest of the community, and specifically I'm interested in Pokelabo actually addressing them. Now, before I get into this, I do want to point out this is not meant to be a negative video in any way. So if you perceive it to be negative, I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I'm not actually attacking them, so you guys can chill on the defensive parts. So let's get into the first question that I have, and that is, what is the game going to do in regards to daylight savings time? So for those unaware, although I suppose most of you are, at least according to my analytics, the vast majority of my audience is in the US. You guys should all be familiar with DST. However, DST rarely actually does anything to you, because from your perspective, when you work a 9 to 5, when DST happens and it rolls back 1 hour, you still work 9 to 5. So the only difference is you get to sleep an extra hour. Sometime in the next year, you lose an hour of sleep. That's it. But when it comes to a game, specifically one like SINoAlice, in which Guild War is tied to a specific time, the question then becomes, are we going to have the Coliseum roll back an hour as well? So that is to say, is the 7 p.m. Coliseum going to take place at 7? Or is it going to take place at 6? That would be time slot 4, by the way. And the reason why this is important is because, obviously, in case you guys are not aware, not the entire planet does not actually take part in DST. Actually, I think even some cities don't. So it can be a little finicky, and I'm not entirely sure how much of an impact it will have. And at least as far as I'm aware, Pokelabo has not even talked about it. Now, my main theory regarding this is due to the fact that it seems to be run. The people speaking English, the ones on Twitter and whatnot, they're primarily in Japan. And in case you guys weren't aware, Japan does not have DST. So maybe they don't realize how much of a concern it could be, because I'm gonna be honest. And maybe this is due to my time slot. Time slot 4 is the one that's gonna get fucked the hardest, right? Because every time slot other than 12, well, I suppose the 12 one, which is midnight, time slot 8, time slot 4 is the only one that gets really fucked. Because we're 2 hours apart from every other time slot 4, we can't really swap. Most of my members, I have a feeling, depending on what way it goes, we're either going to be at work or we're going to be busy. So it's going to be a little rough. And it's definitely something that guilds should probably go into and talk about. Another concern is the fact that the southern hemisphere actually goes through a different DST than the northern hemisphere of the planet does, right? So us in the northern hemisphere, we have DST on November 1st, and we roll back 1 hour. And those in the summer hemisphere, sometime in October, which is next month, they go up an hour. So that is because obviously southern hemisphere, they're about to get into summertime, while we're in the northern hemisphere about to hit winter. So if you had a good time then and they adjust, you're going to be 2 hours off if you live in the southern hemisphere, which, I mean, that is a lot of countries, guys. That is a lot of countries that live in the southern hemisphere, especially Australians. That could mess you guys up. I'm sure there's a lot of you guys playing out on Asia server. Although obviously your time slots are completely different from the US server. But yeah, this is one of the main concerns that I have, and it's mostly because of my guild situation. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Now, that being said, we are obviously quite a bit away. I think we're about a month and a week off. So there's still plenty of time for them to discuss this internally and then get out like the word of what they're going to do. But I would like them to tell us on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, well ahead of time so that we have time to adjust. Now, the second thing that I am curious about, what are they going to do with the previously nerfed weapons? Now, the list of previously nerfed weapons is not big right now, But I guess you could extend this to not just nerfed, but changed as well, mostly for balance issues. Now, the biggest one that most people should be aware of is Popola staff and paid book from the replicant banner as well. Those two were both changed. Well, technically speaking, one of them was nerfed and one of them was changed. The book obviously got the short end of the stick. It is not good at all, even now. And the question I mainly have with this is, at some point in the future, when it is no longer a balancing issue, let's say 2 years from now, when we are, let's say, at a level where JP was at when they got replicant, are they going to unnerf the weapons? I don't know if concern is the right word when I'm talking about this one, but I am curious about what they are going to do. Personally, I do think that they should unnerf them at that time. I do understand why they nerf them. I really do. Obviously, those weapons are incredibly powerful. Now, obviously, I'm also of the thought that if you didn't want the weapons to be so powerful, maybe you shouldn't release them 2 years ahead of time. But they did, so I understand why they did so. However, once that is no longer a reasonable reason, there's no basis for keeping them nerfed. They should be unnerfed. But obviously this is like way ahead of time. But I'm just interested in hearing their stance on it. And I'm also interested in hearing what the community thinks about that in and of itself. Obviously, mind you, they will most likely release it again. I'm assuming that if they do unnerf it, it would be sometime in the future when they release the banners again. So whenever they rerun Replicant or whatever, I would assume at that time, then of course they could do that, right? It would be a little unfair if they unnerf them but don't give you the opportunity to buy it now. That would be pretty shit. But yeah, definitely I'm interested in figuring out what they would do about that. Now, that being said, I'm actually not 100% sure if the replicant weapons were relevant in JP when they released. I definitely was not playing at the time, so I have zero clue. But yeah, this will definitely not extend just to those weapons as well, but anything else that they come with in the future ahead of time or whatever that they have to change or nerf or whatever. The next thing that I am curious about, and this kind of sucks, but I could be misremembering it. I know in JP, one of the Royale services does have free S on daily pools. And obviously we did get daily pool, but as you guys probably saw in the notice, we are not getting the free S if you are an RUS user. I feel RUS, technically isn't that RUS user? I'm pretty sure user is in there. Anyways, not the point. So if you have RUS, I don't know if it was Gold Royale or if it was normal Royale. I'm going to go ahead and I think it was normal Royale. If it was a free daily S on Royale service, I understand why they took it out, because having us get free S is a little pay to win, even more so than usual, because obviously that is free skill fodder, free charm medals. It's quite a bit of an issue. I can understand why they took it out, but assuming it was for the normal Royale service, which again, I could be misremembering, will they add that back sometime in the future to make the Royale service more worth it? And obviously, if I'm misremembering it and it was actually Gold Royale, then obviously that's not even a problem at all, because we're just going to get it when Gold Royale comes out. So not a concern at all. And for those who are unaware, Gold Royale is just like another tier of Royale, which surprisingly, if I'm not mistaken, is actually cheaper than Royale. But yeah, it gives you like a super VIP shop or some shit. I'm not going to get into it because that's probably pretty far off into the future, but yeah. I think it was Royale service. Again, I had quit well before all of this. I don't even think Daily Pool was out yet when I quit. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that it is normal Royale that gives the free S. And the final thing that I'm concerned about is regarding the increased pacing of banners. In comparison to JP at this time, I do think that we are releasing slightly more banners than usual. And as far as I'm aware, they never said that they wanted to catch up to JP. If I'm not mistaken, I think they actually said they didn't want to catch up to JP. So assuming they don't want to catch up to JP, at what point in time are they going to stop the fast pacing of banners? Now, perhaps I'm misjudging the situation, but I'm pretty sure we are releasing banners faster than JP was. We already released the 2 that we skipped. So we released Dorothy banner and we released the Pinocchio minstrel banner. Those are the 2 that we skipped. We just released those. So I think we're actually ahead of pace by a little bit, at least like 2 or 3 weeks, if not a little bit more. I'm not actually 100% sure on that, but I believe we are currently slightly above schedule. Are we ever going to fall back on that and release at a more consistent schedule, pacing wise, in comparison to what JP had at the time? And obviously, I think that just comes down to, do you think that the current pacing of banners is a negative for not necessarily whales, but mostly low spenders and free to plays? Do you think it is a negative? And would you like them to go back to a slower pace? I don't know what a slower pace would even be. I suppose it would be like 2 to 4 regular banners per, well, I guess we are kind of doing 4 regular banners per month, right? So I guess it would be less than that, 2 to 3, I guess. So something along those lines. Normal banners being ones with new jobs. And then obviously you also have spec banners and whatnot as well added on top of that. So more or less we're looking at probably somewhere between 8 and 10 banners per month. Do you think that is a decent pace? And is that good for the player base? And if so, do you think we'll ever get to that point? I'm actually not 100% sure how many banners we released in the last month. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look at the SINo database. So this month, it looks like we've only released, so we're looking at 10 banners this month. And technically one of them is already, actually 2 of them are already using next month. Well, I guess I can't go off of coins, huh? Because then I would have to go back to last month and grab the last 2 banners from last month. Anyways, not the point. Basically, we're looking at about 10 banners this month. Would you consider that to be a decent pace, or would you like to see it increased or decreased? And if so, do you think that will ever happen from obviously PokeLabel's side? Do you think they'll actually end up doing that? But yeah, those are just my questions and thoughts and concerns and whatever you guys want to call it regarding certain things in the game. I think I have a couple more that I'll end up releasing another day in the future, but for now, that is all. As always, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like the video if you like the video, and obviously subscribe if you guys want to see future content. I will be streaming Genshin Impact probably around midnight EST. That would be tonight. Of course, that depends on when this video goes live, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be tonight. I suppose that would be midnight on the 28th. So, yep. Make sure you guys are around. Hit the notification bell. Something YouTube spiel. For now, though, I am out. Have a nice day.